due to this issue?
No, absolutely not, Congressman.
Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Gentleman yields. Chair recognizes Ms. Kamlager-Dove.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for being here today, witnesses. So I'll just say many of my Jewish constituents have loved ones in Israel who were impacted by the Hamas terrorist attacks on October 7th. And the trauma lives on with the missing hostages held in Gaza, including my constituent's grandniece, 3-year-old Abigail, whose parents were killed by Hamas before she was kidnapped. Jewish and Israeli Americans have come together with Muslim and Palestinian Americans to deplore the terror and violence that innocent Palestinians are enduring in Gaza. And we are seeing an appalling rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in my district and beyond. No one feels safe. I want peace. I think we all want peace. I hope we all believe that all people have the right to live with dignity, self-determination, without fear of extinction. What is abundantly clear to me is that after decades of negligence, now is the time for the United States and the international community to put our diplomatic might behind a sustainable long-term political solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel's security depends on it, Palestinians' humanity depends on it, and the liberal international order may suffer a fatal blow without it. I think one way to decapitate Hamas is to give the Palestinians another option. So, Secretary Leaf, how is the administration signaling that a two-state solution is the only kind of end that the United States will accept to this conflict?
So, Congresswoman, you have really nicely summed up exactly where the administration is, that there is urgency to doing exactly that, pointing the way, but more than pointing the way, building the pathway to a negotiated Palestinian state. And Secretary Blinken has been signaling that privately and publicly over this last period. He was quite to the point on this with both the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas and with all of our Arab partners and with our Israeli partners, frankly, because this is sort of the missing element at the heart of the story, the unresolved quest for statehood by the Palestinians. And another thing that you put your finger on, which I found very much mirrored in Israel and the West Bank. Israeli Jews are afraid of Israeli Arabs. Israeli Arabs are afraid of Israeli Jews. Palestinians are afraid of Israelis, and Israelis are certainly terrified of Palestinians. There is a heightened state of fear and anxiety there among all the communities, which as you said, is reflected here in our own country. And the way that we begin to pull people back from that state of anxiety and mistrust of the other is precisely by going to the heart of the matter and helping the Palestinians in their quest for statehood.
So do you have any concern that this war will grow more hardliners on both sides, folks
Absolutely.
that want to?
Absolutely.
Okay. And how do we prevent that?
Getting the conflict to an end as rapidly as possible, and making sure that Hamas is driven out of business. And I would just say that the Secretary has a sort of turn of phrase about this. He said you can destroy a military capability, a terrorist organization, but you can't kill an idea except with a better idea, and that's Palestinian statehood.
So we talked about, getting rid of the Taliban from Afghanistan. That has not happened. So we talk about, we have to completely destroy Hamas. How does that happen? Because like you said, you cannot destroy ideas.
It's a political process. It's a political issue at the heart of it, which is the unresolved quest for statehood, and that is something that we can lead on and will lead on.
Can you have success without diplomacy?
No, it is absolutely critical to do it diplomatically.
How are we working, given Netanyahu has stalled or rejected the U.S. call for a humanitarian pause? Does this remain a priority for us, and how do we move the needle with Israel on this?
We are working relentlessly on the issue of humanitarian pause.
Last question. I know that the Palestinians were told to evacuate to the south from the north, and then they also have concerns about permanent displacement. So how do we still move innocent Palestinians to safety so that we can minimize the casualties of innocent Palestinians?
We've been crystal clear on the issue of displacement, that we will oppose any displacement, any population transfer of Palestinians outside Gaza, full stop. The question of getting Palestinian communities out of harm's way within Gaza is another question, and that is something that we have really urged the Israelis, the IDF, to look to with care and attention. But we will not, we will oppose any displacement of the Palestinians outside their own territory.
Thank you for your responses. I yield back, Mr. Chair.
Generally yields. Chair recognizes Mr. Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to Assistant Secretary